screen behind me as well. So I can use an overlay. Let's see. But yeah, I'll be answering some questions about fantasy football, this draft specifically. This is up live streaming on YouTube as well. And of course, this is live streaming on TikTok. So if you're watching on TikTok, I'm going to be looking here because I'm going to be looking at the comments on TikTok there. And if you're watching on YouTube, or if you want to see this on YouTube after, it'll be up on my YouTube page. Make sure you're subbing for that because I appreciate all you guys trying to grow my platform more on YouTube as well. So I'm trying to do more with that, which is awesome. But yeah, so once we get some questions here, I'll be answering some fantasy football questions. I know this is relatively new stuff. So just let my dog out really quick. Come on, go ahead. Especially since no one's going to be drafting until, like, I don't know, August, right? So it's a bit new, but this is a time where you can really start doing research and starting to see exactly trends now that the draft is over. Obviously, injuries can happen in July and all that stuff, so always looking at that. Yeah. Let me see something really quick. Customizations. But yeah, once we get some questions, we'll get rolling, and it'll be good. It'll be a fun time. Yeah, so let me see something here. Yeah, I have Bijan 1, Justin Jefferson 2, Puka 3, Jamar 4. People hate on the Jamar take, and people hate even more on the Saquon take, but I have explanations for both. So, yeah. Let's see here for a second. Sorry, on the YouTube page, I'm just figuring out the stream here since I'm streaming separately on there. There we go. So we'll be going through this. Okay. We'll be going through this list, and yeah. Is Ayuk worth taking in the late rounds? Yeah, I think he is. I mean, I really like Ricky Pearsall this year. I think this is Ricky Pearsall is one of those guys that I think is excellent, top tier. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think, that's a guy I would take. Jawan Jennings might be good right away, but Ayuk is certainly a great pick. I just don't love his ADP right now. I think his ADP is, is through all that. So I got all my stuff here. I got the mock draft as well. So yeah. What round should you take Tet without reaching? In a dynasty redraft, I would take Tet probably 5. I just came out with a video on that, so part 2 will be coming out soon, which is great as well. Let's see this so people can see this. But yeah, where would Breece Hall fall? Breece is not even going top 2-3 rounds right now. It's a big issue for that. Yeah. George Kittle before David Montgomery? Absolutely. I think George Kittle's the tight end too. Everyone loves Trey McBride, and I love Trey McBride. I'm not trying to say that McBride isn't good, but I also think that Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to take a leap inevitably. So the issue with that is then McBride's, he had like freaking 100+ receptions last year or whatever, right? So that's so hard to replicate. So hard to replicate, yeah. How is Saquon not round 1? He is. I have him at 12. That's round 1. If you're talking like 12. If you guys really want to know my true thoughts on why I have Saquon so low and why I have McCaffrey higher, I just made a video on it. Make sure you follow me. Make sure you check that out. History. Now, again, he could redefine history and stay healthy this season and have a great year. But every touch leader the last half decade minimum. Ezekiel Elliott was the last one to do it, I think, in what was that, 2020, 2019, to finish as a top 10 RB following being the touch leader, right? So it's incredibly hard. Obviously, it's the best line in the league. I'm not saying he's going to get hurt. I don't want him to get hurt. He does have an injury history. He had the 10th most carries of all time this last season, 10th most touches. So to me, that screams, okay, we saw Josh Jacobs, what happened to him a few years ago. We saw Christian McCaffrey, what happened last year. And the reason why I have McCaffrey a little higher is because McCaffrey didn't play much last year. Yes, he was injured. But if you look at the stats of McCaffrey after his injured years, like the last time he was hurt as substantial as he was last season was 4 years ago, right? In the next 2 years, he was the RB2 that year after, and then the RB1 the year after, which was 2 years ago. So again, we'll be going through this list, and yeah, and again, if you guys are streaming on TikTok, make sure you check this out on YouTube after as well if you miss anything, and subscribe there too. If you're not following me on TikTok, that would be awesome too. But yeah, Puka at 3 even with Devontae there. I think it's going to help Puka. I mean, what's the difference between Devontae and Kupp? I mean, Devontae's perhaps a little bit better than Kupp at this point. And the thing is with that is that'll just open up more separation, more targets for Puka Nacua. So yeah. First rookie taken, Genty. You got to take Genty. Yeah. Also, Jamar has the curse for the 1-1 curse, first off, because he's probably going 1-1 in most drafts, right? And then Jamar also has the wide receiver 1 curse. No wide receiver has repeated as a wide receiver 1 since Antonio Brown in 16-17, right? So that concerns me. I do trust history. I was right last year. Everyone was like, who was CD was going to repeat? I was like, there's no way CD repeats because history cannot repeat itself. What I messed up was I said McCaffrey was the first overall pick last year. And I was right 2 years ago, but I doubled down and I should have known because the touch leader never finishes as a top 10 running back the following year. You guys can take Saquon all you want. When he finishes outside the top 10 for running backs, don't come saying, oh, I'm so sorry I didn't listen. I trust history. Could he break that history? Do I hope I'm wrong? Absolutely. I hope Saquon stays healthy and has another great year. I love him as a person, as a player, right? But the issue is, I base all of these statistics off of history. This is deep delve into stats right here. Fantasy football, what they've done, what the team personnel is, and all that stuff, which is why you see a little... I'm not going to have these lazy takes and just copy everybody's list. Like, people have Christian McCaffrey like 28. Like, what the fuck are they even talking about? You know what I mean? Like, Christian McCaffrey, if healthy, is going to win people fantasy football leagues. Now, is he the riskiest player in the draft? Him and Saquon are, 100%. But I think CMC is going to be healthy because he didn't play much last year. In the same injury he had, George Kittle had 3 years ago and has recovered tremendously from that injury. Hasn't been hurt since, substantially. So I'm just saying, people are shocked at the Saquon being this low. And I'm telling you, touch leaders the following year never finish as top 10 RBs. I was wrong last year. I learned from my mistakes. I had 49ers bias last year. I was like, McCaffrey's the number 1 pick because I was right 2 years ago when I said he was the number 1 pick. And I failed to look at the research of why touch leaders, of how they've done the next year. And they never finished top 15, ever. Ezekiel Elliott was the only one in the last 11, 12 years. And this was, when they just kept feeding him back-to-back years, which ruined his career. Then he was inevitably atrocious a few years later. Still believes in Falcons. Yeah, I do believe in the Falcons. Bijan Robinson wasn't a touch leader last year. Bijan Robinson has one more amazing year, and it's this year before he gets hurt. Or before his body starts to wear down, right? Because he's starting to ascend the last 2 years. I'm not saying he's going to get hurt, but this is the year he finishes as the RB1. Yeah. What about George Pickens? I like George Pickens. I mean, obviously CD's there. I think Pickens, what's his ADP right now? I don't even know what Pickens' ADP is right now. I think George Pickens' ADP right now, let's see, because ADP really is non-existent right now because no one's drafting. 76, 86 between there. That's good value. I mean, look, I don't know, but I don't personally love Pickens in the 7th round, but I take him in the 8th round if that makes sense. But he should not be going top 5 rounds. What do I think about Josh Jacobs in the running back area? I think Jacobs can be solid. I think he can, he had that injury a few years ago, and I thought, because of his usage, the past few years that he would not be great going to Green Bay. But remember, he didn't have much usage before he got to Green Bay. He was hurt. So that's why I think McCaffrey is going to have an amazing year, because he wasn't used at all last year because he was injured. So this is a full off season of training where his body doesn't have much strain on at all. It's going to be about getting him through that process of building his how he moves with his legs and everything like that. And yeah. Are you saying Bijan Robinson should be picked 1 in fantasy? Absolutely. I don't think there's any question. He was the RB3 last year, okay? Jahmyr Gibbs is the RB1 curse because he inevitably became the RB1 because Saquon sat out week 18. And Saquon was the touch leader. So those 2 running backs are cursed right there based on history. Bijan Robinson's the only, and we've seen trends where the running back, I think you usually have to rank between RB2 and RB7 the following year to finish as the RB1 if you've played a full season. And Bijan played, I believe, every game. And I think Bijan Robinson's the first pick. CMC deserves to be there. I'm telling you guys right now, whoever takes Christian McCaffrey in round 2, because he's probably going to be available in round 2, is winning their fantasy football league if it goes well. And I'm willing to take that risk. You have to understand fantasy. I can help you guys out as much as I can. Any fantasy football creator can. At the end of the day, a lot of it is luck. No one's going to talk to you about that. They think they have all the answers and stuff like that. I'm not saying I have all the answers. It is luck. But I think what's helped me personally throughout fantasy football and what's helped a lot of people that have won their leagues in really good leagues is you have to take risks. If you don't take risks, you don't win. Part of that was Christian McCaffrey 2 years ago. Last year, Saquon was the risk. I took Saquon in one league. I won that league, right? I didn't take Saquon in my other 3 leagues. I got to the semis in all those leagues because I drafted great down the list. And I didn't win simply because guys got hurt. But, I feel like Christian is what Saquon was last year. Basically like that, he's got an injury history. He's coming off of an injury. The Niners weren't good last year. And we're forgetting that this is arguably the best fantasy player in history besides LT. He's up there, right? So, especially in PPR leagues. If we're talking standard leagues, it's a completely different scenario. Saquon's more valuable. Christian's a little less valuable, because the pass catching is what's going to get Christian a lot of fantasy points there. You're taking Jamar 1. That's fine. Keep making the mistake, man. You can't take the 1-1, the inevitable 1-1 every year. Trust me, I made the mistake 3 years ago. I took, I believe, Jonathan Taylor in 22 in one league, and it was the worst decision I ever made. And that's why Jefferson, he got hurt too when he was the 1-1 curse. It lives on. McCaffrey's not done. McCaffrey is 29 years old. This is at least one more good year left. He's not done. I promise you that. But you could always get his handcuff. You can always get Jordan James and, all those guys. Yeah. I had CMC first last season too. That's where I made a mistake. I did not do enough research on the touch leaders in the trend of that history last year. Otherwise, I would have said don't draft Christian McCaffrey. But this year, do. JSN's down right here on this list. I could post a round 2 about it tomorrow. I have him at 18 right there. I think Ladd is a superstar. Honestly. I think Ladd is a superstar. Yeah. I really do. Chase over Puka? No, I have Puka over Chase. Yeah. Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is weird, right? Because Travis Hunter is a guy that's... We don't know how many snaps he's going to play on offense. But yeah. Genty at 21 is madness. He's at 18. Yeah. If any of you guys take Puka prior to taking Jamar, seek help. Well, Jamar might get hurt. Is anytime a guy has... It's the 1-1 curse. I don't want him to get hurt, but chances are it probably does. That's kind of how it's been the last 5, 6, 7 years. Is whoever... CD was hurt last year a lot of the time too. Jamar is a safe pick if he stays healthy. Because he's bound to finish as a top 3 wide receiver if he stays healthy. But him repeating as the wide receiver 1 is... I wouldn't say it's impossible, but history, it doesn't support that. Antonio Brown was the last to do it. I'm not saying he can't. Obviously he can. And their defense is horrible. So, they're going to be on the field a lot trying to score. So, I don't know. Yeah. Josh Jacobs I didn't have on this list. I don't think he has as good of a season because he had a lot of usage last year too. And he typically follows up that usage He has a high usage one year with, a couple missed games the following year. Yeah. Where do I have Pickens? I have Pickens in like the 60s. Yeah. Bijan, not even top 10. I don't know, man. Bijan was RB3 last year, and I think he's the RB1 this year. Yeah. Where do I have Kyron? No one's going to want to hear this take. Kyron Williams is getting replaced by week 6. Probably. He fumbles way too much, and anybody can play running back in that McVay offense. And I like Kyron, but that's a heavy fade this year. I think Jarquez Hunter is the real deal. It's not even about Corum. Like, that's what they said last year about Corum. I get it. But, like, Jarquez Hunter is a star. Like, he's going to get a lot of carries right away. Like, close to right away. He doesn't fumble as much as, Kyron. I think McVay is going to play those two running backs more, Corum and Jarquez. Not more than I'm not saying both of those guys, like Kyron's third on the depth chart. I think Kyron's going to start out as the RB1. I just think it's going to incrementally go toward Jarquez Hunter. You feel like Bucky Irving is going to have a 25-point per game? Yeah, he could be the RB1. Bucky Irving, I think, I was the big Bucky guy last year. I was the first person to say draft him and then pick him up on waivers. You guys can look at the videos for that. Deep in the last, you're going to have to scroll way down on my page. But I'm a huge Bucky guy, but I just kind of feel like if there's any chance Saquon stays healthy, I'd take Saquon over Bucky, Christian over Bucky, simply because of the upside. But 100%, like, Bucky could finish as the RB1. I see that as a possibility. Godwin, I don't have on this list. That wide receiver room is too cracked, too stacked, too all that. Like, they got 4 or 5 excellent receivers. Trade Mixon for Bijan Robinson in a third. Dude, Bijan Robinson sucks. I think Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt can steal his freaking job this year. I would just not make that trade. RJ Harvey, he's not this high. Like, I have RJ Harvey like a second, third round guy personally in my rankings, which will be out relatively soon, my initial rankings, my draft guide and all that. I'm trying to get it out earlier than I did last year. Last year I finalized it in like July, and I'm like, nah, I got to finish that shit in June this year. Get it out early June. So Jefferson over Chase. Why? Because he didn't finish as the wide receiver 1. Very simple. If we're looking at it, like, Chase had a historic year last year, but it's going to be so hard to replicate that, truly. So, again, why is London so low? I like London. He finished as the wide receiver 5. He's a fellow USC guy, so I'm always going to support him. Mooney was great last year. Okay, there were a lot. I hate to say this. I think Pitts will be used a little bit more. And it's not just that. It's like they have guys on that offense. Bijan can be used a lot. Like, I like Drake London. I just think the receivers I have ahead of him are better. Like, I almost put Ladd ahead of Drake London. Ladd is going to be unreal this year. I don't think people realize how good Ladd is, Sorry. Yeah, I'm on something. Yeah, you're good. You're good. But yeah. How do I not have Marvin Harrison Jr.? I mean, why would Marvin Harrison Jr. be in the top 24? What did he show you last year to be in the top 24? I'm just saying, like, you could make an argument Rome should be top 24 if Marvin's top 24. Both have competition for touches. Like, we're acting like Michael Wilson isn't good. We're acting like Trey McBride didn't just have 100 receptions. We're acting like Marvin Harrison wasn't bad in half his games. And Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray sucks. Maybe not in fantasy, but in real life, like, he's bad 90% of the time. Like, he's very rare that he's a great, goes through his progressions. He missed wide open Marvin Harrison Jr. like 45 times, which was this is a big problem with Malik Neighbors this year, right? Because Malik Neighbors, I'm all in on. He could finish as the wide receiver 1. But he is Russell Wilson, who hasn't had a top 15 QBR since the Obama administration. And how many years ago was that? Like, over a decade, he hasn't had a top 15 QBR. And he's still a major upgrade over Daniel Jones. So, like, I still think Malik Neighbors can be very good this year, and that's why I have him high. Tyreek Hill, I just have outside the top 24. Yeah. I just don't know if Tua's going to stay healthy. I'm out on the Dolphins. I mean, this is why Achan's a little lower, too, at 15, is because if Tua doesn't stay healthy, look at Achan's fantasy points per game when Tua doesn't stay healthy. Just look at it. I mean, it's to me, it's ridiculous. Yeah. Bijan 1, absolutely. Where's BTJ? Brian Thomas Jr. right there, 11. CD over Gibbs. Gibbs has the 1-1. I mean, he has the RB1 curse. No RB is repeated as the RB1 over the past 20 plus years. LT was the last to do it. Saquon wasn't the RB1 because he didn't play the final week, and Gibbs passed him in PPR fantasy points. So we're looking at pure PPR last 20 years. He's just not going to repeat. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Montgomery's going to play more this year, I think. So to me, I think Gibbs is, of course, a top 5 running back, a top 3 running back, but I just don't think he should be there. No reason Saquon should be that low. I know people are going to think this is rage bait and think I hate Saquon and I hate the Eagles and all this shit, but it's not true. I have stats to back up why Saquon is this low. Every other creator is just basing it off of last year. Like, oh my gosh, Eagles offensive line, great. Tush push may get banned, which it won't, by the way, not at least this year. And at the end of the day, no touch leader, said this 1,000 times on this live, and I know you're probably new to coming on this live, but no touch leader has even finished in the top 13 over the past 5 years, the following year. So he might not even be a top 15 back. Derrick Henry is right there, 22. I have Derrick Henry at 22. Yeah. I like CMC more this year because CMC was hurt last year. There wasn't any strain on his body besides the injury. He had more time to get back. He wasn't getting hit a lot last year because he was hurt. I know it sounds horrible because always coming off of an injury. He was 2 years ago, then got traded to the Niners, was the RB2, and then was the RB1 the next year, right? What's the reason for Henry so low? I mean, dude, at some point, Henry, like for PPR leagues, for standard leagues, Henry's top 12, top 13, right? At the end of the day, Derrick Henry is, what, is he 31, dude? Like, come on, bro. I know he's a generational talent, but at some point, it's going to break down a little bit, right? And he has no pass catching upside, 0. So unless he gets almost 2,000 yards again and 15 to 20 touchdowns, Can you explain why wide receivers are so much higher this year? Dude, I think wide receivers are so much higher for a few reasons. Specifically, the elite ones I trust more. We've seen Amon-Ra St. Brown finish as the wide receiver 3 or better for like 3 or 4 years in a row, right? Then we see, or at least 2 years in a row, and top 7 3 years in a row. We see the emergence of BTJ. We see the emergence of Malik Neighbors that could take that Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson type leap. And of course, we've seen it with Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Puka, and Justin, right? Jefferson. Besides Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley's 28, Christian McCaffrey's 29, both extremely risky picks based on their injury history. I prefer McCaffrey because he didn't lead the league in touches last year. But besides that, Gibbs, we've seen 2 years, 1 basically, 1.5 because he wasn't really used the first half of last season, right? And Achane, he's hurt half the time. To me, it's like, okay, well, Mixon's older too. We need Genty to start having this emergence. We need more young guys to start having their emergence to really fit in with those wide receivers at the top. I just feel more comfortable drafting those elite wide receivers at the top, personally. That's just me. But who are my top 5 rookie wide receivers? It's going to be Ted McMillan at 1, Travis Hunter 2, Jaden Higgins 3, Luther Burden 4. Who am I forgetting? Not Golden. I don't like Golden or that fit, so that's why he's not there in that one specifically. Jack Besh, Trey Harris, then Matt Golden, which people find ridiculous, whatever. I don't care. Figure it out for yourselves. I don't like Golden at all. As a receiver, I think he's overrated. I think he's a wide receiver too in the National Football League, but he also plays on a Packers team that didn't even use Jaden Reed at all after he dominated the first half of last season. I mean, LaFleur is a fraud, man. I know people hate that, and that's a hot take, whatever. Like, LaFleur's offense has been figured out more and more the last few years. I know he has 4 good receivers. That makes things difficult, but still, I don't trust him that much. Let me look back at this because Jaden Higgins should put up big numbers. Yeah, I mean, I love Jaden Higgins. I thought he was the best receiver in the draft besides Travis Hunter. It's not even a hot take. Jaden Higgins is a superstar. Rashee Rice should be slotted in right behind Bowers. I can see the argument. Honestly, I can see the argument. Rashee Rice I have in the 20s. I think Rashee Rice is the real deal. Like, you're telling me we're getting a guy who probably doesn't get suspended, right? Was putting up, 20 fantasy points per game before injury? We're getting him in the 30s and the 40s right now? Like, this would be the only benefit about drafting right now, because you know that once people start drafting, it's going to go up. His ADP is going to be higher. So, I mean, yeah. Niners are only winning 8 to 10 games this year. We'll see about that, man. We'll see. You can't, I mean, it's all about Christian and Trent. If they get hurt, of course, they're not going to win at all. But if Christian and Trent are healthy, they're going to win 12 or 13 games. Yeah. They have the easiest schedule in the league. Brock should be higher. I get it for sure. I mean, Brock, I wouldn't hate you guys if you picked Brock in the first round. I mean, having a monopoly at the tight end position, I think is incredibly important. I mean, you saw the teams, like I won leagues, when Travis was that perennial tight end one guy, drafting him end of first, early second. So, I mean, this was, I guess at this point, it's 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. CMC will never be the same again. You don't know that. I think he has a bounce back here. Yeah. I would hate you guys if you drafted Brock there. That's funny, Grant. Hey, Grant's the man. You guys should follow Money Mona, by the way. He works for Sports Illustrated and the Sporting Tribune. He does a lot of Clippers, Dodgers, Nuggets coverage. He's the man. Great journalist. So, I mean, it doesn't have a lot of the hot takes like me. He's more even-keeled when it comes to that stuff, which is good. He's great analysis, but I'm always gonna take it a step further. Yeah. Not that Grant doesn't. This is no disrespect to Grant. He's the man. But yeah, he's in control. I'm more off the rails when it comes to my takes a lot of the time. Achilles tendonitis lingers around, similar to Todd Gurley. It's possible, man. But like George Kittle had a very similar injury 3 years ago, and he hasn't had the tendonitis since. You know what I mean? And I get it. Like, the thing is like, as you're a Rams fan, right? You want to hate the Niners so bad. Just like I hate the Rams. I hate them so much. Like, and I can't talk crap to Rams fans because they won you could talk about the Niners' dominance in the regular season up until this year against the Rams for the past decade. Rams won the only game that mattered, and that was the NFC title game, right? So it sucks. But at the end of the day, the Niners are going to be good, dude. Look at their schedule. Let's say they don't have McCaffrey, okay? But Trent Williams is healthy. Jordan James could put up 1,000 yards in a Kyle Shanahan offense. Similar to McVay. Like, that's the thing. The Niners just win games. Like, last year was a non, year. Everyone was hurt, whatever. But I'm telling you, they're going to be good. Does Hollywood Brown break out with Mahomes? No, I don't think so. I don't think he does. Hoping for picks 10 through 12 this year so you can grab CMC. Dude, you can grab CMC probably in the second round. You don't need picks 10 through 12. You could get pick 5 and probably still get him in the second round. Yeah, I have AJ Brown lower just because I've always been a big Devontae Smith fan, and AJ is his production fluctuates so much. Why is Amon-Ra so low? I don't think that's low at all. Yeah. Where does Kelsey rank? I have Kelsey in like round 4 or 5. Yeah. Kelsey, it's tough, especially with the way Rashee Rice was playing earlier. Like, I don't know. It's probably going to... I think he's still above Jonnu Smith, personally, but a lot of people have Jonnu ahead of him. Yeah. Do you put Amon-Ra top 5? I mean, Amon-Ra probably is the safest pick in the entire draft. So I don't hate him if you take him at 3 through 10. It doesn't make a difference to me. Do you realistically think the Niners make the playoffs? I mean, it could be a rebuilding year, but with their schedule, I think, bias aside, if I'm just looking at it from a football perspective, they absolutely should make the playoffs. And if they don't, Kyle Shanahan should be fired. They still have 8 or 9 all-pros on their team, and people are acting like they're bums. Like, to me, it's crazy. Any other team, like if you had 8 or 9 all-pros, you'd be like, oh, they're going to make the playoffs. They're great. They're going to be Super Bowl contenders. But because everyone was hurt last year, like, people don't watch the Niners. Like, Greenlaw was never on the field. Hufanga sucked when he was healthy last season. And Ward was horrible because his child died last year and he couldn't play in San Francisco anymore because he wasn't locked in. So, yeah. The entire NFC West has an easy schedule? No. I mean, the Cardinals are an easy win for everybody. Cardinals are going to suck. Everyone thinks the Cardinals are going to be better. They don't know football. Like personally, like I like Jonathan Gannon, but like Kyler sucks. Seattle's always eight or nine wins. Rams probably win 12 games. But yeah. Why do you rank Ashton at 18? I like Genty a lot. I think Genty's the man. Like I wouldn't hate it if you picked him at 13, 14, 15. Yeah. Or Henry. I mean, a lot of these can fluctuate. Gannon always has them harder than their talent. 100%. They play harder than their talent, for sure. I mean, I can't name half the defenders on their defense last year, and they did great. So, let's see. With Pickens now in Cowboys, you drop CD lower because of the volume being hit? No. I think it opens up more for CD personally. And again, if you guys don't already follow this page, make sure you do. Whether you agree with me or not, hate my takes, love my takes, I appreciate the discourse regardless. We're all sports fans at the end of the day. And also sub to my YouTube where this will be on. You can see the full thing as well afterward. But yeah, I'm staying on for a little bit longer answering these questions. But yeah. Jamar, third receiver off the board? Yes. Wide receiver 1 and 1-1 curse. No wide receiver 1 as repeated as the wide receiver 1 since Antonio Brown in 16-17. Yeah, no worries. And at the end of the day, he also has the 1-1 curse, which we've seen in recent memory. Like whoever goes the inevitable 1-1 guy is all of a sudden cursed. Justin Jefferson, CMC last year. Justin Jefferson the year before. Jonathan Taylor the year before that. I mean, I could go on Christian again before that. So where does Mason Taylor rank? I don't even have him top 12 tight ends, to be honest. I just don't trust the Jets passing game. I barely have Warren top 12 if that, because I don't trust the Colts passing game. Can I explain Saquon at 12? Yeah, I mean, for the people that have been watching this for a while, I've explained this 5 times, but the new people like Landon and other people hopping on, the touch leader the last 5 years has not finished the following year as a top 13 running back. Najee finished as RB14 when he led the league in touches, I believe, in 21. And if you go back 10 years, only Ezekiel Elliott has finished as the RB3 the following year after being the touch leader. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying history shows that Saquon Barkley probably either has a down year or gets hurt. And I don't want him to get hurt. I mean, he's had an injury history. He has the best line in the league. And if they do less of the tush push, he could have a bazillion touchdowns. I am just saying, based on history and statistics, I would fade Saquon Barkley this year. And it was the complete opposite last year. Like, Saquon was a good pick. He's always going to be a risky pick, just like CMC is always going to be a risky pick. Even though I have CMC a little bit higher than Saquon, and he might never be the same. But you have to take risks to win fantasy leagues. You have to. You cannot play it safe and just take best player available you have to go for your guys and they do your research and take risks like that. I think that's important. Like, a lot of it is luck, but you can create your own luck when it comes to taking the risks that other people won't with certain players. I think McCaffrey's going to work out for a lot of people this year. I could be wrong. Again, I was wrong about McCaffrey last year. I didn't look up the touch leaders, statistics from years previous, right? I wasn't tapped in it like that as much as I am now with the history of it. Barkley 12, no way. I know, people are always going to say that and think it's a rage bait. Like, I'm dead serious. Everything I say, I am serious about. No Kyron first 2 rounds. Wild. Well, Kyron's going to lose his job by like week 7 or 8. Jarquez Hunter's a superstar, and I fucking hate that the Rams drafted him personally. Excuse my language. But, like, that guy's a star. Just watch his Auburn tape. Any rookies? I have Genty right there at 18. Yeah. Not listening to this nonsense. Yeah. Let's see. How do you think Ayuk will rank? I think Ayuk will be pretty good once he comes back. I think Pearsall could take his job, and be that wide receiver 1 for the 49ers. Like, I truly believe it. But at the end of the day, it's like Ayuk might not play till week 7, 8. So, yeah. Ever heard of Brashard Smith? I like Brashard Smith, bro, Nick, but like, Brashard Smith is a 7th round rookie. He probably starts games for the Chiefs at some point, but you don't take him in the top 10 rounds. Rashee Rice should be higher, though, I agree. Ball nowhere like Nico Collins. Yeah, Nico Collins is the man. You can those are interchangeable to me, like Nico Collins and Amon-Ra and Jameer. Like those three, like I don't care if Nico Collins is a 6 overall pick. I don't care if Jameer or Amon-Ra is a 6 overall pick. I think they're all interchangeable there. You think Gibbs can still put up points with a new OC? Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Gibbs is the man. Who's at 23? I don't think you guys can see 23. 23 is George Kittle and 24 is Trey McBride. I think Kittle is a little bit better this year than McBride, especially with Ayuk out until week 7 or 8. Whereas I think Marv has a really big year, so that Trey McBride doesn't have 100, whatever receptions again. Why is Puka 3? Puka's so underrated at this point. Puka is so underrated at this point. At the end of the day, like Devontae is only going to open up things further for Puka Nacua if you think he's better than Cooper Kupp, right? So that's why I think Puka's the man. I think Puka might lead the league in receptions. I think the Rams offense is going to be humming all year. And I say that as a Niners fan. Like, I hate the Rams. I wish they would suck. I wish they would win 0 games. But I got to call a spade a spade. Like, Puka Nacua, I still think, is the most disrespected player in football. Why isn't he on that same level with JJ and Jamar? To me, he's right there. I wouldn't hate it if you picked Puka 1. I think he could finish as the wide receiver 1. You know what I mean? So I think Devontae is an upgrade over Cooper Kupp. I don't know how much of an upgrade, but I think that'll open up the field even more so for Puka Nacua. My bad, Preston. What were you saying, bro? What was your question? Are you going to answer me? What's the question? Sorry, we got a lot. Oh, thoughts on taking London at 5. Yeah, I think it's a little high. I'm not saying London can't finish as a top 5 player overall in fantasy. He absolutely could. But it's also, like, there's so many better players that I would take over Drake London. You know what I mean? Like, at that point. Amon-Ra, Nico, BTJ even, Saquon, Christian, Bucky Irving, Brock Bowers, if you want a monopoly at the tight end position, Malik Neighbors. Like, I could go down the list. I don't hate it. Like, it could pop off. He could absolutely be the wide receiver 1 and have a great year. It's contingent upon how Penix plays, right? So, yeah. BTJ could end up being top 5 in the end of the season. Yeah, for sure. Lamar, top 18. I don't know, man. Lamar is dangerous because I know he hasn't been hurt the last few years, but he missed a lot of games before the last 2 years. And it's hard for me to see, like, him go above Josh Allen. Josh Allen's played a little more than him. Josh Allen's been more dominant in fantasy. So, yeah. But again, if you guys want to see this whole thing, make sure you follow me here on TikTok. Make sure you sub to my YouTube. This will be up on YouTube right after. I got to run, but I'll be back on live tomorrow to discuss fantasy football and everything. And you guys can always DM me, follow me, if you have any more questions on that. But peace and love to all you guys, and have a great day.